You get to see all these good looking peeps. Good morning, or well, depending on where you are, good morning or good afternoon. I'm Chris Heller, President of Movoto. Super excited about this month's seminar, webinar, I should say. We, as those of you that have joined us before, you know that we always pack these with a lot of information. I'm going to go fast because we got 40 minutes. We shortened these from an hour down to 40 minutes because we know how valuable everyone's time is. Uh, if you haven't been with us before, this is a monthly webinar we do for all of our Pro Plus partners. And the reason we do this is because we want everyone to get the same information, be on the same page, learn from the teams that are crushing it, so that you can do the same, and hopefully to feature some of you in the coming months. So we'll give another minute, let people get in and get situated. If you're able to be on camera, please be on camera. Just because I like talking to faces more than black boxes. If you can't be on camera, I understand. It's probably for a good reason, and you shouldn't turn your camera on. All right, while we're waiting, just so everyone knows where everyone's at, in chat, just put real quickly, I'm today in a hotel room in Dallas, Texas. So I'm in Dallas. Let us know where you're joining us from. All right, we got the whole country covered.
Ocean City. I know Eric Windrow.
Detroit.
All right, so we're gonna get going. Again, my name's Chris Heller, President of Movoto. I've had a real estate team for 36 or 7 years, lost track of time, a long, long time. That's in San Diego. I'm talking to you guys today from Dallas, Texas. Our company's headquartered in Austin, Texas. I'm just up here for a meeting. We are want to, as always, just remind everyone of the biggest what we call markers of success. So every month you guys see an email that we send out, a text message that we send out with our leaderboard. And if you look at the top teams in the country, in our network, on the top of that leaderboard, they all have certain things in common. This is one of them. They know that showing home and meeting someone and setting an appointment on the initial call and then showing homes within the first 14 days of the introduction dramatically increases conversion rate. Now, I know for some of you, it's counterintuitive, right? For some of us, boy, for years and years and years, I was trained and trained agents on never showing a home until we thoroughly pre-qualified someone. This is 2024, almost 2025. It's a different world. The name of the game now is get face to face with people as soon as possible. The person that meets with the consumer first is the one that has the best chance of building a relationship. Excuse me. And building a relationship is the name of the game to getting agreements signed and getting people into homes or out of homes if they're looking to sell. When you accept a warm transfer, how much more likely are you to transact with the consumer versus not accepting a warm transfer and getting a cold introduction? So if no one on the team is available or no one on the team responds, we still send you that consumer's information. But connecting with them on the warm transfer means that the conversion rate is 2.5 times higher than a cold transfer. So that this underlines the importance of accepting those live introductions. And that's what all our top teams does. And the team that we're going to be talking to today, I can promise you does this. If you're not in our Facebook group, you're missing out. Join the Movoto Pro Plus Facebook group. We're doing the 12 days of sales mess. I know it's a stretch, but it's the best we could come up with. And every day we're giving away things based on agents and teams that have accomplished something cool. In fact, we just posted the one for today. All right, so here's who we're talking to. This is the Teal Kleiss group. And we're going to talk to Teal, Jennifer, and Tanya. They do a great job on our platform. I think they do a great job in everything they do. our platform is just a part of their business. But I want to get started with this. So, Teal, tell us, tell everyone just, the size of your team, what markets you guys cover, just in case they ever have any referrals they want to send you guys.
All right. So we are in the Baltimore, Washington, and South Central PA market. Primarily, we serve that greater Baltimore metro. We do serve closer to DC and into DC on, a little bit more limited basis. And then I particularly practice in South Central PA as well. And all told, we are 10 agents, including myself, and 2 virtual admin who are in the Philippines.
All right, great. And then Jennifer and Tanya, you two are team members. You're on the Movoto Pro Plus platform and you do other business. Tanya, for you first, how long have you been in the business? How long have you been on Teal's team?
Been in the business 9 years. Been working with Teal for at least 8 of those 9 years. And my whole process is in coming into real estate and understanding how to be a professional in it has come through my partnership with Teal.
That's awesome. Awesome. And Jennifer, how about you?
I've been in the business for about 5 years, and I've been with Teal for 3 years. And what was the last part of that question?
That was really
Okay.
it. I'm sorry, I clicked on this. I have a nervous finger that clicks on things. And Jennifer, based on your hairstyle, I think we need to get a new photo.
Yeah, I've been going through a little change this year, trying different things.
Love it, love it. All right, so let's start off. Teal, I'm gonna start with you. Your team's been really successful on our platform. You guys are doing a great job. What's some of the general philosophy that you use and you instill in your team members to use to be successful with meeting on a blind date, an internet lead, and then turning that into a relationship?
Sure. So, definitely with, Movoto leads particularly, that blind date starts on the phone. We work to be, energetic and engaging on a brief phone call because, by the time they get to us, they've been on the phone a little bit with your folks. We obviously our goal is to set the appointment, and if it sounds like that appointment isn't going out and showing a property, we're looking for some way to set an appointment, whether it's a consultation or, some sort of follow-up. So, our general overall philosophy is really extend that relationship at many small points until we can really feel confident that we have it locked in. When we do set appointments, we obviously, text them and call them back and confirm. We also have our admin send out appointment confirmation and a calendar invite. And that's done as much to make sure that they show up and to put it on our calendar as it is really to have another touch to say like, oh, okay, here's this group that I have just engaged with. This is how I reach them. And it's sort of the goal is more than anything is to imprint that relationship and start imprinting that relationship in small ways until we can really get in there and do the work of creating that relationship.
Yeah. Excuse me. That's great. And you said so many things that my mind wants to drill into and drill down. But a couple of the key things that you mentioned is that you guys focus on setting an appointment. As everyone knows, those introductory calls are recorded and we listen to those calls. And our top teams focus on setting appointments. What's still surprising is how many of the calls we listen to where agents just struggle with that. And they can't help themselves but go into, interrogation mode and start interrogating the consumer and asking lots of questions. And you can hear the consumer who was on a site, filled out a form, said, I want to tour this home, took a call from us, answered all the questions we asked them, confirmed that they want to view this home. We say, great, we're going to introduce you to someone who can help you go see that home. And then an agent comes on and takes them in another direction, talks to them about their finances, talks to them about lawsuits, talks to them about buyer broker, and I hear these calls and I just go, oh, hurts my head. But you guys keep it really simple. You focus on the appointments. Tanya, you like you said, been in the business for 9 years. Working with these type of leads is different than if one of your past clients, introduces you to their sister to help them now buy or sell a home.
Sure.
What's your thought process on the initial call? What do you think about and what do you focus on that allows you to just be effective like you are?
My focus is on following the format in that first call that was provided by Voto. Introduce myself, tell them who I am, partnering, all of that, and asking them for the appointment for whatever property it is that's set up. Get a time frame from them. So my focus is on that. A couple other little questions that we ask, just making sure we know what motivated them toward that property. So when I tell them that I'm going to call them back with the confirmation, when I tell them I'm going to text them so they know it's me, and then call them back with the confirmation, I'm coming from a space of I may be able to find another property for them as well. So it's that second call that I make where I can gather a little more information, not on the first call. First call is just using that basic outline, introduce myself, trying to engage them at whatever level they are, and then turning it around into a follow-up call
Yeah.
to confirm the appointment.
Yeah, which is exactly what we teach and what we hear that the most effective agents and teams doing. So good for you. How do you resist the temptation to want to learn everything in the first 30 seconds about them and their situation?
That's not the goal. That's not the purpose. I keep in mind that I will have a second chance as long as I have them on the phone the first time. I'm going to follow up and do exactly what I said I was going to do, which is text them who I am so they know it's me, and then follow up with a call to talk to them about the appointment confirmed. And then I'll go into a little more LP Mama type stuff
Yeah.
without hitting them with the questions about their financing and all of that, because I already have the appointment. So when I meet them at the property, it's just more a way to engage in conversation with them about the little stuff that I know and whatever else I might need. And then ask them about, what next steps we can take after this property, if this is the one or not.
All right. I love it. I want to ask you, you said something that I want to make sure everyone caught. You said when you started to say when I call them back, what you said is when I text them, then call them back.
Mm-hmm.
So is that sort of a pattern that you follow, that you text and say, hey, this is Tanya, the agent you talked to yesterday. I'm going to give you a call about our appointment, or tell me about that how you connect with them or get them to engage with you that way.
So that when I tell them I'm going to text you my contact information, when I hang up the phone, I'm texting them my contact information so they know it's me. And my follow-up call is if I'm not at my desk, if it takes me an hour or two, it's okay because they got that text. So that's the first point, and I know that I'm going to follow up with them later about confirming that appointment. I'm not trying to do it all on the phone on that first call.
Got it. Love it. Love it. Jennifer, how about you? What's your, anything that you think about different or anything that you do, when you get that text message that says there's a live Movoto consumer on the phone, what's the mindset, what's the thoughts you have, and then what's the conversation like with that consumer?
Same thing as Tanya, grabbing that call, following the steps that Movoto trained us on. And initially, we weren't. I mean, we were-ish. And I say ish because I had some like filler language that needed to go away.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just share like, hi, this is Jennifer Gordon from eXp Realty. I'm also a Movoto partner. How you doing today? So I had to get rid of the how you doing today part and just go in for, I see that you're interested in 123 Main Street. I have availability. And then I say, is that right? And they say, yes, I would like to see it. I'm like, okay, great. Do you have availability on blah, 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 or blah, blah, blah? So really fine tuning the way you guys told us to do it makes a difference, and really getting that appointment and sticking to that sort of script. I would say before Movoto, we were very much of an LP Mama team. And I feel like LP Mama is, while it's important, I can get the, I've found for me, I don't do it on the second call when I call them back after I've texted them. I confirm the appointment and then I meet them and then I kind of do the LP Mama casually as we're looking at the property.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hey,
And
so
I,
John, for those on the call that don't know what LP Mama is, just take a second and explain that.
it's just a script where you find out what the location that they're interested in, what their price point is, their motivation, if they have an agent, mortgage,
Setting the appointment.
and setting the appointment. So I'm
Mhm.
skipping some of that fluff and just getting in front of their face so that when I get in front of their face, they can meet me as a human and get to know me as the person. And I found success in that. Like once I'm able to get in front of a person, they see that I'm not just a salesperson. I'm actually a person who cares and wants to help fulfill what they're looking to do.
Yeah. I want to highlight something you said, which I think is it's a little thing that is really important. And you said, when you first started, you'd say, introduce yourself. I'm we're the local Movoto partner. How you doing today? And just taking that, how you doing today? I share with our partners. We've already had we already had that conversation with the consumer, right? We called them,
Right.
we asked them how they were doing. They've been
Mhm.
on hold. You bring someone else on the line. The last thing that consumer wants to do is answer the same questions again.
Right.
So that's why we tell everyone just jump right into the conversation, which is what you do now and what you do really well. Jumping right
Hmm.
into the conversation, saying, "Here's who I am. I understand you want to see the home at 123 Anywhere Street. Is Thursday or Friday better for you?"
Yep.
Great job. There's a question that for any of you that wants to take it. It says, if the property is no longer available, where does the appointment happen? How do you manage that? So I
So,
want to even add to that question. If it's
mhm,
not available, and let's say, and I know you guys don't stop and look up the property because you follow the process, the playbook that we teach, but let's say it's a property that you're already familiar with and you know it's not available. How do you handle that? And then if you find out afterwards it's not available, what happens? What happens to the appointment?
you want me to answer that, guys?
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So for me, what I'll do is I will, which I hate when that happens, but it happens, right? I'll look up for that property and see if I can find other properties that look like that property or something in the area. And then I'll call them back and say, hey, un- unfortunately, that house that we were looking at is under contract, but I do have some other properties that I could show you. Would you be interested in doing that? And, like 50-50 chance, like they'll be like yes or no. And I've had people be like, yes, let's go see it. And then I kind of, again, get in front of their face and I'm able to figure out a little bit more of what they're looking for.
Yeah. I I've listened to calls where that's happened and what I heard two things that I'll share. One was an agent came back and they used the good news, bad news script. Hey Jennifer, I got good news and bad news. The bad news is that house that we're gonna see is under contract, no longer available for us to go look at. The good news is I found two others and I set up appointments for those, but let me tell you about them to make sure that you want to go see them. And then they just go right into it, sort of assume that the consumer's gonna want to go see them. Um, the other thing I heard was the consumer actually said, no, I don't think so. We were just interested in that one. And the agent turned it around and still got a buyer consult out of it and was meeting them at a coffee shop and simply said, hey, I understand. Why don't we do this? Why don't we meet for 15 or 20 minutes? Because this is likely to continue to happen to you. You're going to find stuff and, it's going to be gone or it's not going to be available. Let me learn about what you're looking for and everything else, and I'll share with you how we can find properties that maybe no one else knows about. And they just got built enough intrigue with the consumer. The consumer said, okay, yeah, all right, I'll meet with you. So there's a lot of ways that we hear top agents handle those type of things.
Chris, I want to add too, I think I'm always thinking about what is the psychology of that person who's calling in on a pending listing. Typically, it's because they're confused. They may see conflicting information on different sites, and they don't have enough information about how to search for property for whatever reason. Could be, technology limitations, who knows? I think when you start to think about the psychology of that buyer, it is, if we're out, like I was looking at cars recently, and it's just mind-boggling to go to all these different sites and try to compare and contrast. On that second call, when I have that happen, I really start to engage them as like, just be friendly and open. And what is it that you're looking for? And really try to draw out that conversation to have just a really great, impactful conversation. May not lead to an appointment, but my goal in that second call is to really imprint myself on them like, hey, that was an awesome conversation. She's friendly, she's nice, she was helpful, she shared information with me. Because the truth is, the psychology of some of these folks who are calling in, unclear if it's pending or not, it really could be just some type of limitation that they're dealing with. And so I think it's important for us to not assume that they're not serious, to
Yeah.
continue to engage them as heartily as we can.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not an issue whether they're serious or not. They just might have been disappointed and like, the air went out of the excitement balloon for them.
Mhm.
Teal, let me stick with you for a minute. You look, you have a great team. You have people that have been with you for a long time. I know that you do a lot to help ensure their success, and that includes accountability. What does it look like on a daily or weekly basis, from an accountability perspective between you and your team members?
So I try not to go heavy. I've sort of, over the years of having a team, I've ranged from like super strict to super loose and everything in between. But what I've determined just out of observation, like really the two things that are important in real estate are leads and then handling your contracts well. Like everything else you could probably do marginally and, still, if you do those two really, really well, you're going to do great at real estate. So primarily our accountability is number one, with any agents who are receiving leads from the team, we meet weekly to discuss those leads. And that's not my purpose in that conversation. Like the question I'm always asking is, what is the next step? What is the next step? My purpose in that conversation is to learn what they know, to help them see what they might have missed. Because, sometimes it's that curiosity factor. Could you have been more curious here to understand what they meant by that? And then what is the next step? Because we really, every lead that we receive, we look at it as like, we're not going to let it loose. And so my expertise and my experience helps them improve. And really that's the key accountability for us. And it doesn't look like, boss subordinate accountability. It looks like partnership. So we can maximize our lead flow. Sometimes we do it pretty frequently. If Tanya's hitting a brick wall with a lead, I'll say, hey, have Jen call that lead. Jen may have a great conversation, pick it up and run with it. And we've certainly have had that happen in both directions. So it's also not as a group, not thinking that, one lead is my custody. It's how can we as a team cultivate all these leads and help everybody win.
Yeah, no, I love it. Again, there were so many good nuggets that you just shared there. But I wanna take something you said and ask Tanya about this. Tanya, when you're having that type of conversation with Teal, when Teal's saying, hey, what's going on with the introduction you got, on Monday? What's the next step? What do you need from me? How does that come across to you? Like when that conversation is taking place, what are you thinking and feeling?
It's okay. So for me, it's the level of accountability I prefer. Ask me these questions because either I have the answers or I'm failing in some way. And I know that I need to step it up. So for me, I appreciate it. And it always comes across the questions that she's looking for answers for are based around that LP Mama and a couple of levels deeper on that. So if I say this is the area they're looking in, if they want in Maryland, if they're in Maryland and they say Baltimore County, it's where in Baltimore County. What's important to them about that. And those are the notes that I will have taken and have in our Movoto notes. Those are the notes that I have taken so that when she's asking me questions about the lead, I can just open it up and see my own notes.
Love it, love it. And I like your mindset around that. Like, okay, these questions are gonna help me. They're either gonna help me do what I'm doing better or let me know I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
How about Jennifer? How about for you? What's when you're being asked questions or there's that accountability conversation, what's how do you think about it? How do you feel about it? How do you react to it?
I would say it helps me fine tune what I'm doing. So like those curiosity questions that I sometimes forget, like I get so robotic sometimes that I forget to be curious. I'm curious. I'm very curious. I'm a very curious person. But when I'm being robotic, I forget to be curious, which is interesting. So it helps me in regard to that. And it also helps me to be on top of maybe someone I may have kind of forgotten about a little bit and get back on track with them. It's not always easy being asked about your leads, like, did you
Yeah.
do this? You know, we're humans and Tanya and I are different agents in the way we handle things. So sometimes, you know, I'm like, don't put me all in one, you know, as the same. We're different. So that can be, you know, tough, but otherwise it helps fine tune me. Like I said, like Teal's very good at like noting the fact that I was doing the how you doing, noting the fact that, you know, you need to ask deeper questions here and
Yeah,
not having that noted. Like if I'm not putting notes in my CRM, which I think I'm usually doing, and then I see like, oh shoot, I didn't put notes there.
yeah.
So that accountability helps a lot.
Love it, love it. You just made me think. I had a conversation this morning with a team and their lender, and the lender asked me a question. And I was speaking with them because the lender wanted to know how he could help the team be um, more successful. I said, well, what's the difference between, you know, your teams that are doing really well and really not? I said, it's little nuanced things, like not asking, you know, putting in the filler stuff, right? And just following the process. So, and you guys are demonstrating that at a really high level. So good job. Teal, you have, I think you said you have 10, give or take, agents on the team. Not all of them are on the Movoto Pro Plus platform. How do you decide who is and who isn't, and do you move people on and off, and what does that look like?
So, it's a merit system, right? You know, when I came into real estate, my team leader at the time said the people who show up in the office get leads. My first year in real estate, I sold 42 homes from showing up in the office and getting leads. And so it's very much a merit system. Tanya and Jen have proven for years their willingness to hustle, to work hard. This is their full-time gig. You know, and so they're helping me grow my wealth. I'm helping them grow their wealth. Now, there are other agents who, of course, I want to help in the same way. But these leads, I look at it two ways. Number one, I'm making an investment in them. And the investment for me into Pro Plus is I don't have to hire an ISA and try to train them and quality control them and follow up on them. Like that is something I do not want to do. So for me, what I'm looking at is I'm not really paying for leads per se. I'm paying for your expertise and your processes that help your team produce them, right? I look at it that way, but I also look at it as we have asked you, Movoto, to be partners with us. In some regard, we're influencing your wealth and the ability for you to employ people. And so I take that very seriously. So to that effect, I don't just give these leads to anyone to feed them leads. They demonstrate their willingness. Now I have another agent. She's not a full-time agent, but anytime I ask her to take a lead, even if it's the lowest price point or whatever it is, she will jump right out there and do it. And even in spite of having a full-time job, you would think she's a full-time agent. Now for that person, I really can't put her on Pro Plus because she wouldn't have the ability to answer the calls as easily. But we will field those leads and we will feed them to her and she'll go carry them, you know, into the future. So that's kind of how I think about these leads and how we structure it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I hope all our team leaders are listening and paying attention. I know the ones on this Zoom are, but if you're watching this on a recording, this is why you want to be in these webinars each month, because you get to hear this stuff and it really hits you between the eyes. I want to switch topics. When I first met you guys, and Tanya, when I first heard your voice, I thought, okay, she's got like a beautiful radio voice. That's why she's successful. But I also know that when you listen to yourself, that we don't always like how we sound. You guys, I know, leverage the call recordings, and tell us about that. Like, Tanya, I'll start with you since I was just picking on you, or actually I was praising you. But do you guys listen to the call recordings as a group? And
Yeah.
if so, how is that for you to like have one of your calls played in front of everybody?
Painful, painful.
Mhm.
This is what it is. It's like, no, which call is it? Oh my gosh, that sort of thing. Hopeful that I've done what I needed to do. And letting people talk. You know, you get on this call, you ask the right question, and you get 30 minutes of an answer. It's the whole thing is being recorded, and I'm trying to get it back to, okay, let me get off this call so I can really get into what they're looking for. But sometimes people just want to talk. So it's not easy. Sometimes it's painful, but I take it because how do I grow? How will I get better if I don't?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's that growth mindset and that commitment to keep improving that
Yeah.
makes the enduring the pain okay.
Yes. And then it's be open to um, someone else hearing you and giving you feedback so that it's not just you and thinking, yeah, I'm doing great. You might be doing great, but there are ways you can make it better.
Yeah.
And so just being open to my team giving me feedback on what I'm doing makes it better because those filler words, I'm a how you doing kind of girl. And you can't do that in these calls. So it took a minute to stop and to get, you know, onto the right path of just keep the question simple, basic, secure the appointment, and then follow up.
Yeah. All right. Jennifer, same for you. Like what those call recordings and the group sessions of listening to those, how does that, how do you think about those?
Painful. Same language as Tanya. I don't have a radio voice. I have, if you can't tell where I'm originally from, I'm from Long Island. And I think when I hear my accent, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so strong. But you may not hear it. I don't know because I've been living in Maryland for 20 plus years, but I hear it. Um, but what Teal, what's that? I didn't hear that.
I don't know either, but you can keep going. You're about to,
But what is good is Teal always and Tanya, it's just the three of us, so it's not that bad, but still, they always start with the positive first. Like, let's talk about what you did right, and then let's talk about like what you could improve. So it's not so bad. It
yeah,
just, you know, it's good. Like I feel like when we started in July, we've come a long way.
Mhm.
Huge leaps and bounds. Even
Yeah.
the way I just handle my business. But anyways, I just feel like we've done a good job. But the big thing is that start with the positive and then we'll talk about what you need to improve.
got it.
And there's always improvement.
Yeah, yeah. No, I hear I hear the willingness and the desire to keep getting better from both of you. So that's coming through loud and clear. Teal, do you Jennifer said that you guys this group listens to the call recordings, but do you ever think about using those with your whole team? Because I'm sure there's, regardless of the type of lead, being effective in a conversation and being able to share, those opportunities is something to be beneficial to all.
Yeah, we haven't discussed it. I think certainly there are a core group that we would, that would appreciate that opportunity. We haven't discussed it. And honestly, it didn't occur to me to really bring everybody in on that. To some extent, because it is a little exposing, right?
Yep.
You know. And I use a process, we listen to it. What did you do great? What could you have improved on? And then, the rest we weigh in otherwise. The primary most critical thing is, did you follow the steps that Movoto gave us? And we have that. We use WhatsApp as our like team chat. We have that little card that Movoto gave us pinned to the top of a chat. So anytime they're on the phone, if you're sort of, did I miss a step? We just reflect to that and make sure we hit them.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, there's, the other thing that when I got asked that question, what's the difference between our teams are doing great and the ones that aren't? I said the teams that are great just follow the playbook. It's a pretty
Yes.
simple playbook and they follow it, and you guys do it as well as anyone. And we have a few minutes left. If you have anyone watching, listening, joining us, if you have any questions, put them in chat. We'll hopefully have gotten to the ones that were in there. Want to talk about there were some questions. I know people always have this question, and that is an agreement, right? We need to have an agreement signed to show someone the property. What's your guys' process? How do you handle it? Is it, at the property? Do you talk about it on the phone? Do you meet them somewhere first? Like, Tanya, Jennifer, or Teal, anyone, just jump in.
Yeah, we meet them at the property and present the agreement before we show the home. With EXP, we have a single property showing agreement, and we explain what it is and how it's only in place for this property until midnight. And we explain what, help make sure they understand whom agents represent, because it's a Maryland requirement, and then we go from there. And there's nothing mentioned before. There's no, I'm not setting up, but we just do explain to them at the property, this is a requirement across the country. And for me to show you this home, this is what's required.
Yeah, I've listened to so many calls. The teams having the highest level of success are following that exact same playbook. They're not having that conversation on the phone. They're not. I mean, I've heard agents talk about lawsuits on the phone with consumers. I've heard them talk about NAR. Like, most consumers don't know about lawsuits. They don't know what NAR is. Don't meet them in person. Do what Tanya just said. Let them know how things work. You're gonna have, we're gonna decide together whether I think I can help you and whether you think that I would be good to help you, and then we can decide if we want to keep working together. But
Jen has a great script that she uses when she's standing in the driveway handling her agreement. You want to share that, Jen? I mean, not verbatim it,
Sure. The agreement actually that we use is real quick is 1 page plus we use the to whom as well. So it's like a total of 3 pages. But the script that I use is basically, I don't know where you want me to go with this, Teal, but like basically like, hey, this is an agreement that we need to fill out before we see the home. So if they don't sign it, they're not seeing the home. I haven't had that yet. I've had someone say, do I have to do this? If you'd like to see the home, yes, I have to have this signed. But the good news is it ends at midnight and it's only for today. And it's a way for us to get to know each other, because if I'm going to represent you as a buyer, it's a way for me to represent you right now, and we'll get to know each other. It's like dating each other right now and getting to see if we actually like each other. And then if we like each other, then we can do a full agreement. And I talk about there's 3 ways I get paid, and you need to understand that. I'll either get paid by you, I get paid by the seller, or I get paid by a combination of the two. And you need to understand that. And typically it is that way. And if you can agree to that, then you can sign and all that right here. And they sign and they're like, okay, let's go. Because a midnight, it's like, oh, it's only till midnight. Yes, it's only till midnight. And guess what? You'll get a copy of it too. So you have it for your records.
right?
Yeah, it's really disarming to them. Hey, I know, Rose, I saw Rose, you had your hand up. Did you have you're muted, but if you have a question, be happy to. answer it. You're muted. We can't hear you. All right. All right. Well, we are running short on time. There was a comment in there that Derek said Tanya and Jennifer are super coachable, a growth mindset. That is obvious. And that is a reflection on you too, Teal, as the leader. If there are other questions, send them to us. I promised you we'd be at 40 minutes. I think we're at 41, so I apologize for being a minute over. Teal, Tanya, Jennifer, first of all, thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for sharing. Everyone on here got value and benefited from you guys being here. And we appreciate you being vulnerable and being willing to do this. So thank you,
Thank
everyone. We
Thank
will
you.
see you next month.
Thank
If you haven't joined the Facebook group, and thanks for being here.
Thank you. Have a great day.
See ya.